Welcome to the LEC Podcast, a show about growing in connection with the earth and communities around us. Brought to you by the Living Earth Center in Mankato, Minnesota. I am your host and producer, Jacob Bases. Let's get growing. All right, update time. January is a little bit of a slow month here at the Living Earth Center, but we would like to extend a very heartfelt thank you to everyone who donated end-of-year gifts and came out to the Solstice event. It was wonderful to have you all celebrating the holidays with us. One noteworthy item, we did hire a new farm manager. You can look forward to hearing about that on next month's edition of the Living Earth Center podcast. For now, let's get on with the show. For our first segment today, we have Cora, who is our program manager here at the Living Earth Center. We're going to get to know Cora a little bit better and what she does around here and why she sticks around with us. So, Cora, if you could introduce yourself and tell us what it is you do at the Living Earth Center and a little bit more about who you are.
Yeah, hi, my name is Cora Uigwe, and I am the program coordinator here at the Living Earth Center. And so that entails me putting together and coordinating all of the events that we have. So any community events, any fundraising events, any other public events that happen, and any youth coordinating and activities that we do. A little bit about me. I'm Minnesota born and raised. I grew up in St. Paul, and I grew up, going on camping trips and going on road trips with my family. And I was always so connected to and inspired by nature. And I was always, fascinated by all the animal books and encyclopedias and all the nature documentaries. And that's what that passion continued through my life until I went up into college, where I went to Gustavus in St. Peter, and I studied environmental studies and ecology. And that passion led me towards outdoor education, where I did outdoor ed at Wolf Ridge ELC for a couple of months. And that experience was really pivotal for me because I had always been really drawn to community. I'd always been really, have always personally thrived in small communities. Went to a small high school, went to a small college, and I just found that the interpersonal connections that you can create when you know your neighbors, when you get to know people in a small space over time, I found to be very, very impactful. And when I went to Wolf Ridge, I got to see a community where the values and the mission was all about connecting to the earth, caring for the earth and caring for community, and the community caring for the earth. And that experience of getting to see people come together from across Minnesota, students, to come to one place to really pursue that mission was really impactful for me. And it was something that I wanted to continue to carry out through my life and to seek opportunities that would foster community and foster love and care for the earth. When I came to Mankato, I spent a couple of years doing a couple of different types of jobs. I worked at Mankato Youth Place for a while, where I did program development with kids that need and families that need additional support. And I got to, get to know the kids and the families there. I've worked at Minneopa State Park. I've worked doing river guiding on the Minnesota and Blue Earth rivers. And really what I've learned from those experiences is just how special southern Minnesota and the Mankato area is. And I initially learned about Living Earth Center back in 2020, back when I initially moved to Mankato. And I was so drawn to their mission. I was so drawn to their vision. And I was like, wow, that sounds like a place that I want to be a part of, somewhere that values growing food and cultivating connection and leaning into community support and the spiritual and or sacred nature that comes from nature, and supporting that type of those types of endeavors. And so I was always like, man, I really want to work for Living Earth Center one day.
What was that? What was the that first touch point like?
Yeah, it was actually when I was working at Mankato Youth Place. The executive director over there, she introduced me to Laura Marcella, our executive director here, so that I could try to start a seed growing activity with the kids. She provided the soil, she provided the seeds, and I, attempted to grow seeds with the kids because I thought it was so important that they, see how cool it is to watch something that doesn't even look like it's alive be nurtured into something that is growing and that is green and that is beautiful. And a lot of our plants died, but even despite that, I think a lot of the kids just seeing wow, look at the root system. It just came out of this beautiful little thing. I think it really, was cool for a lot of the kids to see that. And that initial touch point with meeting Laura and, going to the Living Earth Center website and just reading their mission and, looking through some of the pictures of the things that is done here, I was like, that's just something that it just resonates with me, my experiences. It resonates with my values. And I want to support endeavors like that in any way that I can. And so when the position for the program coordinator opened up last March, I was like, I gotta try. To be able to support this endeavor, but also just to be able to be surrounded by people that are passionate and have experience in things that I don't have experience in. Despite the fact that I work at a, growing, Living Earth Center, we do a lot of gardening and food growing. I don't know how to grow food, but by being surrounded by people that are so passionate about it and so knowledgeable, I'm able to kind of absorb their expertise and to see how Living Earth Center and the people that connect with Living Earth Center share that knowledge within each other and within the community, I found to be extremely powerful.
Sure. And, once you got into the position, what does our program coordinator here do exactly? What do you find your day-to-day at the Living Earth Center to be like?
Yeah, my day-to-day, it kind of starts with, once we have an idea for an event, whether that would be our Common Ground series or a farm opener event, or our Earth Conference, it begins with me reaching out to the people that might help run that event, or coming up with the activities that will happen at event and what supplies will we need, and coming up with the date and the time, and then making sure that gets out into the community, making sure there's posters that are put up, making sure community boards are updated so that all of the Mankato community, as much as possible, can know about this, because every one of our programs, whether it's a free just community event or a workshop dedicated to helping people learn about either gardening or how to improve their garden, that people know about it. And so, and then I help make sure that event goes smoothly, bringing the materials, checking in with people, making sure that all of the checks are made we check the boxes off, and then coming up with new ideas and new programming. I also helped manage Garden Club for Mankato Youth Place last summer. And that's another part of the programming that we offer is inviting kids up into the garden to just experience nature, be a part of that process of growing food, and get them exposure to where food comes from. And just having positive experiences in nature and just having fun, really.
In your introduction, you talked about how much you seemed to feel like you resonated with the values that you saw here before you got involved.
Yeah.
How do those values carry forward into your work?
Yeah, community connection and connecting community to the earth, I think, is one of the biggest values that resonate with me, that I find to be at the heart of what Living Earth Center does. Providing a space where people can come from all different walks of life and from all different values and experiences come together under this shared understanding and shared value of, we want to be outside. We want to provide for our families. We want to grow food. I want to have a fun activity, a fun afternoon for my kids. Just creating that space and, providing the opportunity for people to come together in all seasons of the year to just be in each other's presence and be outside and to really just either reflect or, grow food, which is a huge part of what we do here, which is something that I really also really resonate with, is helping people have access to healthy, locally grown produce, which and the land to be able to grow that food on. I find it to be extremely important as, food prices continue to go up and up, and as we as a culture become more and more disconnected from where our food comes from. I think it's so important that communities have places like Living Earth Center where, if growing food is a huge part of how you support your family, it's a huge part of how you survive, we need to be able to have access, places where people can have access to that. Or if it's something that you do because it's something that you love, it's how you connect to nature, and it's how you connect to yourself. I think it's so valuable that Living Earth Center helps provide that for the Mankato community.
Yeah, I one of the things that I've noticed through working here is that people can learn that it is an option to bring a lot of food from the earth. Like even in a small planting box, you will find out very quickly around here just how much can come from it. And, calling it an option is kind of is empowering, because I think, there is this kind of pervasive idea that food comes from the supermarket. Yeah. And that is new, in term, like less than 100 years old, that idea is.
Yeah. I think that's so important. And one of my personal passions is connecting youth to nature and having kids experience, how beautiful and how special nature is, and to find their personal connection to it. And that's why I love doing the Mankato Youth Place Gardening Club, is because I get to, help create, kind of nurture that, curiosity, like let's just get the kids outside. That's the, the coolest part. And then, show them like, hey, like, look at all these tomatoes and how many tomatoes are on this tomato vine. And hey, look, here's a garden, like a broccoli plant. Like, how many times in your life you've actually seen a broccoli plant? You've probably just been exposed to it. Like, here's a piece of broccoli on your plate. But, especially if the kid is able to come multiple times throughout the year, they get to see like, oh, this was a plant that was this big, and now it's this big, and now oh my gosh, there's flowers on it, and oh my gosh, now there's fruit on it, and I'm eating that fruit, and it's actually maybe tastier than I initially thought it might be. It's so powerful, and some of the experiences that I had with the kids up there are, kids that, like, I was a pretty picky kid when I was growing up. I did not, like, if it was green, I was not interested. And, like, my mom used to tease me that I was allergic to seasoning. Like, if there was specks of green in the sauce, I was not having it. But I grew out of that, thankfully. But seeing some of the kids, try things that I would have never tried at their age. One of my favorite memories is seeing a girl. We had, it was towards the end of the harvesting season, the growing season, and we had picked like a bucket this huge full of cherry tomatoes. And I swear this girl sat down and ate half of that bucket while everyone else was doing crafts. No, she was enjoying her cherry tomatoes and just going to town on it. And I've seen kids come up there that were, they were coming there with a lot with them. They were carrying a lot with them. Maybe there's something going on at home. Maybe they're just having a bad day. But you could see that in their demeanor. And I've seen that, that demeanor change. And a grumpy kid leaves, you know, in a little bit of a better mood. Not always. Sometimes they come in a bad mood and they leave in a bad mood, but that's life for you. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to do more of that next year.
Well, can you speak to that a little bit? What are you excited about in the future? What's coming up this year for Living Earth Center?
Yeah, Living Earth Center. So for Living Earth, for stuff that I'm doing for Living Earth Center next year is we are hoping to expand youth gardening to reach more kids in the Mankato area. And the goal behind that programming is to get kids involved with the process of growing food from seed, so that the kids will actively be putting the seeds in the soil and then, you know, helping nurture that seed into like a little sprout. And then that sprout will eventually be taken to the community farm where that food is then used to, you know, grow produce to serve the community. And it's still, you know, in development. There's still, you know, things that are, you know, need to be taken care of. But that's the ultimate goal, is to get kids involved in the process of, you know, so they get that hands-on experience of like, you know, knowing how to grow food and knowing how to, you know, understanding where our food comes from is empowering. And it can offer, whether it's a lifelong just passion for, you know, gardening, or if it's an access point to a way to feed their families or a way to feed themselves in the future. Just having that knowledge of like, this is where my food comes from, I think is extremely important. And I'm just honored to be a part of that process and to have this opportunity to be able to, you know, bring these experiences to youth and to share that experience of growing food with the community. You know, just being a part of the Living Earth Center family, I've gotten to know so many people that are, you know, so passionate about what they do, growing food or just being in nature, or passionate about this community, passionate about Mankato, and their love for this community. I find it to be, I'm just really honored to be a part of the process and be here to experience it.
Sure. Are there any stories or just like generally things that have been meaningful to you that have happened in your time here, or even before you worked here, that you think would be valuable to share to help people understand the overall goal of the Living Earth Center, or that you just think are like uplifting?
Yeah, one of my favorite programs that we did last summer, there's two that are on, you know, very different scales and in very different settings. One was the natural pollinator garden class, the native pollinator garden class, where we invited our local master gardener, Mary Walker. She's very sweet and very knowledgeable, to the community garden, and we hosted a little, you know, workshop where about 10 or 12 people came out, and we talked about how to incorporate native pollinator plants and Minnesota native plants into your garden, and what benefits does that offer to the local wildlife and to your garden, and how to do that. And it was you know, a beautiful August sunny afternoon, and it was, you know, just people who were, you know, they wanted to be there. They wanted to learn. They wanted to they wanted to, you know, incorporate this value of caring for the earth and, you know, being more intentional about how they use their yard, and bring that home with them, and to share that with their families, and to share, you know, carry that knowledge with them throughout their lives. And it was just very, I guess, wholesome to see so many people come just with the intention of like, I just want to learn. I want to be with people who are interested in, you know, this idea of incorporating, you know, Minnesota plants into your yard.
I agree. That was an awesome event.
Yeah. And it was very quiet. You know, we just had conversations. It was just, you know, but I feel like people walked away with a real sense of like, you know, I've learned something. I have a resource now. I have a goal in mind. And, I think that's what Living Earth Center, that's one of Living Earth Center's greatest, you know, one of our key pillars is, you know, this idea of education, and access to education, and access to different ways of connecting to the earth. Another one of my favorite events that we did was the Earth Conference. And that's an annual event, but it was my first Earth Conference. I had never attended one. I'd never coordinated an event of that scale before. But we invited different people from across Minnesota, different organizations, different individuals, to talk about this idea of bridging divides and how we as a local community have so much power to really improve our local communities. Often when we think about climate change and the terrible things that are going on in the world, it can be an extremely overwhelming and disheartening feeling. Like, what can I, as one little person, individual, do to make a difference? Like, does it really make a difference if I recycle? Does it really make a difference if I try to, shop local or whatever your, ecological endeavor is? But when you're put in a room with people and organizations from your local area that are already doing amazing work for both environmental and social endeavors, all of a sudden you don't feel so alone. And that's what was the point of the Earth Conference this year, was to help people get connected to the types of organizations in town that are doing the great work of healing and supporting this beautiful community that we have here in Mankato. And I think people walked away with a real sense of hope. I hope. I felt hopeful at the end of that because, it was just inspiring to see so many different people just showcasing, like, here's what we're doing for Mankato, and here's how you can get involved, actionable ways that you can support your community in the ways that are passionate and resonate with you as an individual.
Sure. I certainly felt that while I was there. Well, in closing, is there anything else that you would like to say about your self or your experience, or just something you're looking forward to maybe?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I'm just really grateful to be here. The people that work at Living Earth Center are all extremely passionate and extremely, driven to the mission of Living Earth Center, and creating spaces for people to, find, food access and land access, providing spaces for people to connect to the land and each other. And I think that if, I know that we're continuing to expand and continuing to grow as an organization, which is extremely exciting, because I think the kind of work that we're doing here it's needed and it's relevant. I think more communities would benefit from having a place in the community where the whole value is just being with the community and being with nature and just fostering those connections. And, I'm just honored to be a part of it.
All right, that is going to wrap up Cora's segment for today. And for those of you who are listening, you may have noticed that she mentioned her work with My Place. And we are today, for our second segment, having on the program coordinator from My Place, Brandon, to talk about the work that is going on over there and some of the stuff that they have done in collaboration with the Living Earth Center. Here's to Brandon. Brandon, if you could just quickly introduce yourself, what you do at My Place, what My Place does here in Mankato, and then we can talk about the programming that we have put together with the Living Earth Center. Let us know who you are.
Hey, I'm Brandon Carlson. I'm the program director over at Mankato Youth Place. We're an organization, after school and summer program that focuses on high quality programming to serve our youth. I don't know if I wanted to say it.
Sure. Well, let's just go a little bit deeper on that right away and say, who are these youths and what kind of high quality programming are you providing them with?
We're a program-based organization, so we focus on academics, healthy lifestyles, and STEM and an active recreation.
Sure. And about how many children are served by My Place?
Right now, we average about 60 kids a day.
Cool.
During the school year.
And all these kids are from the Mankato community?
Yep, we're all from Mankato.
Right on. So when you are working with the Living Earth Center, what kind of activities are the kids doing?
They do a lot of harvesting and watering. This last year they were doing weeding too and doing some crafts that were intertwined with sustainability and what's growing at the garden.
Cool. And how does this compare to the normal type of programming that they have at My Place? Is it the same or different?
I don't know if there's necessarily a normal type of programming where we all have different expertise in different things. So Living Earth Center is great to partner with because you all have the expertise of getting out in the garden and growing, and that we just like to bring in partners to give the kids the best opportunities.
Like it adds to the kind of like diversity of programming that you offer there. What other kinds of programming are there?
Yeah, so we partner with a lot of different organizations in the community. Like we have Cooking Club that's run through U of M Extension. We go to MSU to do handball. MSU has an IBE program that runs some programming for us, but we focus on hardcore areas between academics, healthy lifestyles, and STEM and science.
Cool. And generally, what do you hear back from these kids who are coming back from the garden? Is this a positive experience for them?
Yeah, it's always smiles when they're getting off the van coming from the garden club, and they tell me about all the new things that they got to try, and I'm usually stunned how many vegetables they're eating there, but it's good for them to see kind of where it comes from.
Sure. So it is that is something that they've picked up through there. It seems like maybe you could elaborate a little bit more on like them figuring out what it comes from. You mean like them actually seeing the growing process, or? Yeah,
it's cool to see it kind of like I know we did watermelons last year, I think, and it was cool seeing it grow from a little small guy to big watermelon that we got to eat in the end of the summer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it helps them understand how things that they probably think come from the supermarket actually end up on their table either way. Do you have any kind of reflections or anecdotes about working with the Living Earth Center staff, or just anything that someone might have said to you about how this program has affected them, or just something along those lines?
The staff there are really great to work with, and it's always good to hear different stories about our kids experiencing new things up at the Living Earth Center, and kind of just getting them out in nature, and the kids love the staff there. So,
sure. It sounds like overall that the kids are having a good time, and that it really seems to align with what we want here at the Living Earth Center, which is generally our mission statement, which I try and nestle in every one of these podcasts, is that we want to build community through connections to the earth. So this seems to be aligned with that, and it's really great to hear that that's what's happening over at My Place. Is there anything else, just in closing, that you'd like to say or remark upon?
I think the Living Earth Center is a great resource for our community, and it's just been great working with y'all.
Yeah, well, hey, thanks for joining us, Brandon, and we look forward to, I've heard rumblings of maybe some seed to sauce pizza happening this year. Nothing set in stone yet, but hopefully everything goes well, and we're very glad to have you on the show. Thanks for agreeing to come on.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you find yourself in alignment with our mission and values, the Living Earth Center is a 501c3 nonprofit. Consider donating. You can find more information at livingearthcentermn.org.